Okay, here we go. Quadratic equation. Solve a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is one of the big boys of algebra. We've got Pythagorean theorem and we've got quadratic formula. These guys are huge. If you can get this one dialed in, you are ahead of the game. So let's see if we can get them dialed in. Like, there are going to be things later on in your life that hopefully you'll have memorized and in your brain. Pythagorean theorem, quadratic formula. Standard form. ax squared plus bx plus c. If I were to put numbers in for a, b, and c, and if I were to graph this thing, I would get a parabola. And if I looked at that parabola and looked at where it crossed the x-axis, I would find the x-intercepts. That's what this formula is going to do. This is the quadratic formula. It has a space where I can put a b. It has a space where I can put another b. It has a space where I can put that a. It has a space where I can put that c. And it has a space for the a again. Negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That is the quadratic formula. There's a little song. What is it? It's to the tune of Pop Goes the Weasel. What is it? Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I'm not a great singer. If I were, I would have gone on American Idol. Dude, does anybody even watch that show anymore? Is that even on TV anymore? Do you even know what I'm talking about anymore? What the quadratic formula really does is it wraps up completing the square into a nice little package. This is completing the square in a weird way. It wraps it up. It's taking a square and cutting it in half and factoring. It just puts it into one nice little package. When you start a problem, write this down first. Write it down. Every problem. You're going to write down the problem like, 2x squared plus 6x plus 5. Write down the problem and write this down with parentheses. And then start plugging the pieces in and simplifying it. Slow down. Write this down. We're gonna be doing this in class. I'm gonna be walking around. You need to write this down first. If you're not writing this down, you're probably getting the answers wrong. Write it down, plug them in, do the problem. Slow it down. Here we go. Okay. 8w squared plus 5w minus 3. A, B, C. Negative b, this is b. B goes right here. Plus or minus b squared minus 4a c over 2a. I'm just plugging it in. I know that a is 8, b is 5, c is negative 3. Let's start working through this. Negative 5 plus or minus the square root. What is 5 squared? 25. What is negative 4 times negative 4 times 8 is negative 32 times negative 3. 32 times 3 is 96. That's a positive 96 over 16. Did I do that right? Let me just check that. 4 times 8 times 3 96. We're good. Negative times a negative, that's why it's a positive. Let's just keep simplifying this thing down. Negative 5 plus or minus the square root. 25 plus 96, something with an 11. What is that? Adding the 5 to it takes me to 121. Is that right? 121? 121? 121? 121, I like that. Okay. Can you take the square root? Negative 5 plus or minus 11 over 16. Right? Because the square root of 121 is 11. I'm going to split it into two pieces now. Negative 5 plus 11 over 16. Negative 5 minus 11 over 16. 11 minus 5 is 6 over 16, which is 3 over 8. That's one of your answers. And this is negative 16 over 16, which is negative 1. Is that right? Yes. These are physical points on a graph. These are the x-intercepts. This is where the parabola comes down. It goes through negative 1, starts coming back up, and goes through 3/8. These are the x-intercepts. You are finding physical points on a graph. A, B, C. Negative B, 4. Negative B plus or minus B squared, 4. Minus 4A, 9. 4AC, negative 9 over 2A, 9. Start with this. Negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 16. It's going to be a positive because it's not a negative times a negative. It's 81 times 4. 81 times 4, 324. Over 18. Negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 300 and, is that 40? Is that right? 34, yes. 340. There's not a good square root of that, so we're going to use a calculator. Square root of 340. 18.4, is that hard to see? 18.439, so 18.44, 18.44. Negative 4 plus or minus 18.44. Let's split it into 2. Negative 4 plus 18.44 over 18, negative 4 minus 18.44 over 18. Let's keep going with this simplification. It's at 14.44 over 18. And this is going to be negative 22.44 over 18. We're getting close. I'm going to do the division using a calculator. 14.44 divided by 18. 0.80. It's one of our answers. And the other one is 22.44 divided by 18. I know it's going to be negative. So negative 1.25. No, yeah, 1.25. Okay. Okay, those are hopefully the right answers. Ah. Okay, those of you that are watching that are like mathematicians, I realize I probably introduced a lot of error in this with my rounding. I probably introduced a lot of error with my rounding. These should be good answers. They're good answers. They're good answers. Are they good answers? Let's test it out. Ready? Okay. How do I check it? I'm going to throw it into the original equation and see if it works. Let's see. 0.8 and negative 1.25. Okay, here we go. Let's see. 9 times 0.8 squared plus 4 times 0.8 minus 9. That should equal 0. Dang, it's pretty darn close. That's pretty close to 0. I feel good about that answer. 9 times negative 1.2, 9 times, parenthesis, negative 1.25 squared plus 4 times negative 1.25 minus 9. They're both pretty close to 0. So there's a little bit of some rounding error in there. It's good enough for us. Okay? It's probably not good enough for launching satellites into space, but it's good enough for an algebra class. Thank you for watching. I know that's a 12-minute video. This is huge. This is like what's a really long movie? It's like the Lord of the Rings of Mr. Barr videos. That's a long movie, right? Lord of the Rings, the first one. What else is a really long movie? Gone with the Wind. Isn't that a long movie? I'm not really sure I've ever watched that movie all the way through. There was one of those Transformer movies that I thought went way too long. Like, was it Transformer 2? It should have ended at an hour and a half, and it kept going on for 2.5. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Bye-bye.